So this is Theo and the pregnant girl and the nurse
Yep.
entering Bexhill refugee camp. How did
Bexhill. Can
how
we
did
can we look up? Can we zoom on that? That is. Oh, it is
That's
a
definitely a
B.
B.
I've
It's
been.
a B.
I thought it was Sex Hill.
Oh, no. Although there are some questionably named things in the UK. Anyway, how did the UK get to the point where there's this brutal nature to immigration? Like, look at this. This is the refugee camp. Horrible barriers, like pollution and fires and
And it's all
grossness.
dead in there, whereas outside is like lush and green.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Just look at the brutality. You got like chain link fence, another fence, chain link fence, like
Or
harsh lights on people.
It's hard bar fence and barbed wire on top. It's worse than chain link
Oh, did I say chain link? Yeah, it's hard,
yeah,
hard
yeah.
fence.
with
Man.
with barbed wire on top, with razor wire. Or maybe razor wire.
And they're just
Pe-
beating people.
Yep. People in cages, like tied up. They're like their arm. They're not even free to move their arms. They're like tied to the fence, tied to the
That's right,
wall.
like these guys right here. They're
Yeah,
somehow
yeah.
like strapped to the fence so they can't move.
Effectively straitjacket.
And then this guy comes in and just starts harassing people, kind of for no reason.
Right.
Look up, you piece of shit. Look
Dog
up.
likes it.
Oi, I said, what's wrong with you?
Italian.
Look at me, I said, what's wrong with you?
Gabriel, help us. We need
Shut up!
come to our aid in this hour.
Okay. Get out! You fucking
Feels bad.
disgust me.
Unnecessary.
She's okay.
Yeah. Right.
She's gonna be.
Okay,
The guy's so mean.
but at the same time, the people are still coming. And in
It's
fact,
true.
why didn't these immigrants stop in France? Why didn't these immigrants stop in Germany? Why didn't they stop in Spain? Well, because those places have fallen into chaos. Which
Gosh,
means
yeah. So
If they-
okay. So if I'm somewhere in Europe and the world has fallen apart, my first thought is not Britain. My first thought is like Spain or France because they're lower in latitude, and so it's going to be easier for me to just off grid, just set up enough farm. Maybe even I have up to 10 people. I can just set up my own little homestead in the country. No one's there. No one's going to know about me, and it's going to be much easier to grow food there.
Yep.
And so there's some what you're saying is there's some statement that even though it would be strategic, it would be a better strategy to and just easier to live down in those climates, the people aren't doing that. They're choosing to come to England or coming to Britain and risk encountering this stuff.
Right.
To
And
that
Britain is a harsh climate. It's rainy.
Right.
It's
And
cold.
cold.
It's difficult to survive. It's cloudy all the time.
Yep.
It's hard to grow things.
The growth things, like finding resources, is really the big thing to me, and just
Yep.
feeding people is really the big question
Plus-
for me.
And you got to go across water to get there. You can't
That's right.
walk there. You got to
That's
get
right.
across water. So it's a harsh travel situation. as
But I
well.
get it. Because it's an island.
Yep.
That means people can't get to you easily. Like say if I had 10 years sunk into building a homestead in Spain and it's like thriving, growing, I don't know, whatever food I can grow there, and then marauders come in, just wipe out my people and take all the food. Like I can't. That is not an option anymore. Like it's
mean,
not
there-
an option for me to stay in these fertile places.
There must
it's
be
better for me to
marauders,
go
right?
there.
There
That's
must be
right.
marauders because if there
Because
wasn't,
not
then
everyone's
people
going
would
to have
stay.
not everyone's going to have the green thumb, and so their way of getting food is going to be to maraud.
Right.
And if there weren't marauders, then yeah, people would just set up homesteads. So like, I think what we're saying is that it's even with this treatment, it's preferable to go to Britain.
In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, it's even this treatment is the selling point. Because if I'm in Spain and I set up my homestead and marauders come through and wreck everything, then I want to get to a place that has secure and brutal borders. That's Britain. That's where I want to go. If I can get through border security, then I
Yep.
can get to a place where I'm secure, which
Yep.
means, like, take this guy, I don't know, right here, these two guys, they're not thinking England is so terrible. I wish they wouldn't do this to me. They're thinking, I'm glad they're doing this to me.
That's right.
Because that means the next person that comes in will also be brutalized, and they won't get through if they don't deserve to. So like, if I can just get through this brutal
I can
thing,
get past the security, then I'm good. And then the people behind me, if they're in, then they're good. But if they're not, then they're kicked out. They're excluded. They're if there are marauders outside, if we have open borders, we being the UK, if we have open borders, then we're letting in the good people that just want safety and want shelter, but they're also letting in the marauders. So I, as a refugee, I want this country, I want England to have these strong borders because I want to keep those marauders out.
Right. And I'm glad, as an immigrant would be like, I'm glad they have this enforcement mechanism because I'm a good person. I'll get through and the marauders won't. So all of these people are like, yes, please mistreat me and put me through the ringer.
That's right.
Because I want to get and contribute to Britain.
And as long as I do it the legal and proper way, then I haven't broken any laws. I've followed your procedures. Please let me in.
And when I get in, am I reporting illegals? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Wait, yeah, absolutely. That was... So actually, now, how did we get here? That makes sense. Britain is protecting itself. And also, the immigrants have buy-in to the protection.
So now, I don't think it needs to be that brutal.
Okay.
But maybe there, as we said now, there's some synergy between the nastiness of it and actually the security that you want to provide. But I could also imagine, giving my impression of British people, is that they probably did not start off like this.
That's
probably like here's your tea and crumpets. like neat, orderly, polite, but firm, but polite. My hunch is that in this dystopian scenario, people were like, England's the place to go, or Britain's the place to go. Go. This is the one country left. Like we're gonna flood. In which case, if the security people, the refugee camp controlling people, don't have the funding to scale up properly, then if they can handle 5,000 people a year, but they're getting inundated with 30,000, then stuff like this is going to happen.
So you're saying there are times when brutality is an actual consequence of lack of resources and funding, not necessarily like that was the intention to begin with. So say this is like a 10,000 person camp. That's what it was designed for. But 100,000 people are crammed in. It becomes brutal, not because it was designed that way, but they just don't have the funding and resources to build 10 more.
Yeah, we see it with disaster relief scenarios where, so I'm removing the nastiness of outsiders, like disaster relief. Like these are our people. We want to give them tents and food and shelter, but it's just hard to scale up quickly enough. And so then you end up with 30 people in a tent when it's supposed to be 10. But we just can't scale fast enough. And then people can become quite mean.
Like this guy.
Right.
Because it's a lack of resource environment, probably oversight's a little bad. You hire a couple people that aren't so kind. And in an environment where it's just resources are taxed to the max, this is his way of dealing with it.
Even kind or unkind, what I'm saying is like he has to put himself in a situation that is not nice every day. He has to make decisions that are not nice. He needs to decide who gets to go in, who gets to go out. And so I think you numb yourself, you steel yourself, and so you don't feel things so strongly. And where I'm thinking of this is actually from nurses and doctors. Like at some point they need to dehumanize their patients, because otherwise they can't perform their jobs well. Like at some point a surgeon's like, it's just a body, it's just a mechanical suit. Like I'm not operating on a family member. Like I'm not operating on a person. Like I just cut the thing, I sew the thing, I'm done. Like,
right. So you're saying this guy, maybe he came in like kind and he was taking care of people, but people started taking advantage and pushing him around. He's like, all right, I'm going to come in hard and I got to dehumanize so that they don't mess with me, because I don't have the time. I don't have the situation. And since I'm encountering this day after day after day, he develops this guard personality.
I'm saying
he didn't intend to.
I'm saying something even gentler than that.
Oh.
So in your statement, it's like some people push the boundaries, some people didn't take him seriously. I'm saying like he has to make decisions of you get to go inside the country, you have to leave, and like he'll see people breaking down and crying because they want it in, of course, right? And so to not feel that emotion, so that way he can continue to do his job that he needs to do for the security of the entire country, then he needs to just kind of turn that off. Like,
I see. So he's dehumanizing because he has to make difficult
Right.
decisions in individuals' lives. He can't handle the emotion of making these brutal decisions for people.
Right.
And so if he doesn't think of them as people, he can emotionally handle it day in, day out.
right. And when you don't think of people as people, then you get this mean stuff.
I see it. So on first glance, it's a shock to the system, but like maybe getting there in a world of difficult circumstances, it's kind of, we can maybe understand it a little
I
bit.
can understand it.
don't
And then, as we said earlier, this is the security that refugees
That's
are
true.
looking for. If you can get past the security, then you're good. You're set. And if you came in legally through the security, then you want the security to stop people after you that are trying to do it illegally.
Right. So he might be getting praise from the citizens of Britain and from the legal immigrants
legal
in
refugees.
Britain. In Britain.
Legal
So-
immigrants. That's right.
Legal immigrants, yeah.
Because
So-
not just the refugees, like everyone that comes in is like, thank you. Like, please keep our society orderly.
I couldn't do that job because you have to make all these brutal decisions day by day. Thank you for stepping up. What a
I see
weird-
it.
I see it. It's kind of, I don't like that headspace that I'm getting into right now.
But that's right. But we followed the logic, right? Because
Yeah.
if the outside world is full of marauders, then I can't live out there. Which means I want to get into this high security place. Which means if I
see
can
it.
just get past it, then we're good.
But what I prefer is a fully funded immigration system with full information and kind guards, and no human is legal. That's what I want.
If no human is illegal, then we let the marauders in.
That's true. Somebody's got to be illegal. Like there has to be some system.
Yeah. Especially
see
if
it. I see
especially if say you like waited 3 years out in the muck of the rest of the world, and you're like, I did my paperwork, I sent it in, and they when I finally got up to my list on the list, then they pulled me in, and somebody else is like, I'm a marauder, I'm a bad person, but I want it anyway. No.
Even worse than that. Imagine you set up your homestead and you also applied for immigration, and then a marauder came in and destroyed your homestead and stole all your stuff. And then you go to England, and then you see the marauder in England. You're like, what the hell is he doing here?
What the heck? That's not cool.
Well, I'd be so upset because this is why I came to Britain in the first place.
Yeah. So then if you came in and you got in legally, you turn around and be like, keep everyone else out.
Keep everyone else out. I mean, makes sense to me.
The illegal ones, of course.
Legal ones, of course.